I just scratched Michael's cold opens and I don't have one.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you
What is up, Watch fam? I am Christian, the curator of the Theo and Harris Watch Shop.
My name is Michael, and this video is sponsored by Manscaped.
More about Manscaped later.
Yes.
Today we're talking about some of my favorite watches from Watches and Wonders. I was lucky enough to be there for a couple of days and all the mayhem and everything, and I'll talk all about that experience, but there were 3 watches. Well, there were really like 6 or 8 watches, maybe even more, that really stood out, but here are 3 of my favorites.
Okay.
Okay?
Deal.
One is from JLC.
Okay. Which looking at that, it's probably on the other side.
Which is bananas.
Yeah.
You would have died. Oh, there he is, my man.
Sir.
Beautiful. We need to speak about that watch.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. So JLC released one watch that was unbelievable.
Cool.
Rolex released another that I thought was just a total home run.
Never heard of that brand.
How is that pronounced?
It's too hard to say.
I've only ever seen it written.
Yeah, same.
And then actually Tag Heuer released a watch that I thought was great. We'll talk about these watches like specifically,
of course.
And then we'll go a little bit broader and talk about some of the releases that they were released alongside, even within their brands.
Okay.
And just the entire experience. I want to just kind of take everyone with me through Watches and Wonders and yeah. So let's do it. First of all, how do you pronounce JLC?
J, it's L, and then
so it's J-A-Y.
I'm like, oh, you said it perfect.
E-L-L-E, like Jenny L.
It depends on the commenter and how angry they are that day.
Yeah.
Jaeger LeCoute, Jeje LeCoute.
The JLC Reverso Tribute Chronograph is truly a spectacle. This is an amazing watch. Look at that wristwatch.
Wow.
Yes.
$21,400.
$21,400 for this in-house manually wound chronograph from JLC that is not only well finished, because it is well finished, and finishing skeletons, particularly skeleton chronographs, is a very difficult feat. I mean, think about when you have a dial, right? You're able to hide a lot of the stuff that is hard to do, and it's not always done so gracefully, you know? But they are saying, welcome into our movement.
And you're not even saying polishing, you're saying placement of things, where there is actual skeleton, you can see through it, or in this case, to see behind it. That's what you're talking about.
100%.
Yeah.
And you have to do all of this without being busy. It needs to still be clear and legible.
Yep.
Think about all the extra components you're seeing that still can't distract from the function of the watch, be it the time or the chronograph, right?
Yeah.
So skeletons in and of themselves are so difficult.
Thickness.
I
don't know this. I'm asking you. I have no idea.
The thickness is 11.14.
Wow.
And let me tell you, on the wrist, unbelievable, Michael.
That's my thing with, well, I shouldn't say reversos, but usually like chronograph reversos, ones that have more complications is they immediately start going like this, and you're like, but that's thin.
So that was part of it. So we got, I think like all press, you basically get an appointment to walk through the showing with a sales associate, or maybe that's, reductive, a sales expert or whatever.
Sure.
And first of all, the JLC guy was so incredibly nice. Oh my God, what a sweetheart of a guy.
Yeah.
And their booth was awesome. It was this big booth that you got really up close to the watches.
With the waterfall?
Yeah, with the waterfall, the golden ratio. There was no glass, so meaning between you and the watch. Yeah. So the experience was so enhanced. When you're looking at watches behind glass, it's cool, but it looks more like news.
Yeah, right.
Whereas when you're able to go nose to nose with the watch, you're like, this isn't news, this is interactive, this is personal.
Cool.
And if you're there, that's what you want, right? You want this ultimate level of, closeness.
Touchy.
Yeah.
You're going to fly to Geneva to see a glass pane.
I actually touched one of these, and the Swiss gentleman was like, Monsieur, don't touch.
Theo and Harris, Christian. I'm on YouTube. You probably know. Grabs the watch.
He's like, oh, Teddy Balthazar. I'm like, no. This watch is truly phenomenal. A little bit of background. Speaking to the JLC sales representative, my JLC history is not like remarkable. Like I know a lot about JLC like you do, but
Yeah.
no, in the last 25 years, you and I probably wouldn't pass a test on some of their modern stuff that you just don't know about. You
Exactly,
know?
yeah.
One great example is the Squadra. Do you know what the Squadra is?
No.
Exactly. I know what it is, but like I don't know what
It's
it
not
is.
the woman's thing.
No. The
Okay,
Squadra is this huge Reverso chronograph, and it's thick and it's huge.
That's
you
what
know?
always gets me with JLC chronographs. They're this thick.
Very thick.
Yeah.
So it came up. It was the first thing that someone brought up. They said, "Wow, this is the successor to the Squadra," and the gentleman was like, "Let's not bring it up." You know, now the Squadra is a cool watch for people with bigger wrists, people that aren't really traditionalists.
Sure.
You know, it was a cool take on JLC for the era,
Sure.
and I think it was like mid 2000s or late 2000s. But it's not a traditional Reverso. It's hard to even call it a Reverso.
Yeah. Oh,
That's a
yeah.
monster. I mean,
That's a
it's-
monster.
It's a monster watch.
That is we're going to take a shot and make a big watch for big wristed people. We're
Right.
gonna take
Are
a
you
shot.
interested in an Hublot but want to buy a JLC?
Which I
Buy a
wonder what
Squadra.
amount of people are that.
They're out there.
I think it's pretty high. If you're in a boutique, you're like, I love that watch. It's not big enough.
I also try to never lose sight of the fact that that there are a lot of people like with wrists that are larger than ours.
Hmm.
Like I generally, say to people, hey, listen, if Tony Soprano can wear it, you can wear it. Like it's not a girl's watch at 36, a girl's watch, right?
yeah.
But some guys just do have such monstrous wrists that I'm like, yeah, I get it, man. Like, I don't think you're being a little girl. I don't think you're being a little sissy about it.
Yeah.
That's a little small on you.
Yeah,
you
right,
know.
right.
So it is kind of a thing. But so far as traditionalists are concerned, this is something that no one was asking for.
That watch is crazy.
And yet it's unbelievable and brilliant. A little
want
bit
that
thicker.
watch.
The chronograph pushers are so sleek. It
Wow.
also, and at $21,000 or $21,400, I think it's really fair. That sounds silly, but think
No,
about
I
the other
agree.
think about comps.
I know.
I mean, this is a far more difficult watch to manufacture. It's a far more impressive watch than, let's say, anything entry level from Patek or entry level from Vacheron, I would say.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
This is miles ahead. It's in steel, which I suppose would be the drawback. But frankly,
Steel is disgusting.
steel's disgusting. But frankly, I'm actually wearing my new steel watch right now.
Oh, Mr. Club.
But frankly, I think that, and I like precious metal watches. I really do. That's my thing.
Yeah.
But this is a steel watch that I say, oh my God, let's
That watch is amazing.
go.
Is it thicker?
It is thicker. But Michael, I swear to God,
Me and the boutique. Is it thicker than this?
it is so beautiful. You would have
no.
absolutely freaked out. That
Wow.
if there was one watch that I said the entire time, I wish I could be here with Michael to see this watch, which is like a super weird thing to even think. Like, you're really into watches.
You're
if you start
telling the
thinking that.
Swiss guy at JLC.
Yeah,
that
I'm like
was-
one of my really good friends. We work together, but like
Well,
we're
you
friends
probably know
first.
he's in the videos.
Yeah, this was the watch that I would have wanted you to see. I can't wait to watch you see it for the first time because I really think you're
When
going to
I'm
flip out.
unboxing it for my gift.
Yeah, exactly. So again, $21,400. I think it's fair. It's
Yeah.
also offered in rose gold and a black dial. I believe in the high 30s, 37.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's lower than I thought.
Lower than you thought.
The precious metal was going to be.
As did I. As did
Yeah.
I. It's so understated. I mean, there's no other print on the dial. There's no Reverso print. There's no chronograph print. It is, if you know, you know. And if you don't, that's just fine. On the negative side of this watch
Okay.
is it is boutique only. So you will only be able to buy one of these watches in a JLC boutique. You'll not be able to buy it in like one of your larger, watch ADs.
Does that constitute limited release, or does that just you have to be at the boutique?
Yeah, so it's not limited release. It's a full release,
Mm-hmm.
but the sales representatives made it clear that like they're going to be hard to get because people wanted them. So I was there on the first day,
Yeah.
and the New York boutique already had 20 orders.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I think they had half that amount of watches. So they're going to be like basically like a lot of made.
Basically
to
what
show.
everybody else is doing with
Yes.
the boutique only.
But I gotta say, like when it comes to a watch like this, when it comes to this conversation of scarcity and difficulty to acquire, at least it's a difficult watch to make. So I don't feel like you're just screwing with me.
Right.
I really do think that JLC, which is not a hype brand, it's not a brand that you can't get.
Yep.
I think they not deserve, but I think it's warranted. It's understandable.
It's more understandable. I see that. That makes sense.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But they seemed really nice about it. Like, if you want one, you'll get it. It's just going to be a while. Like, because so many people want it. It's so good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I gotta see it.
Oh, you're gonna
Do you have a picture of it on your wrist?
No,
they got it back before.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And then at the end of this conversation, I'll go back into like some of the experience at these different, at these different booths and whatever.
This video is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming that there is. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. You can join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. But before we get into that, you have a little story?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we've been partnering with Manscaped for like almost a year now.
Yeah.
Okay, and the reality is that I've been able to, if nothing else, and it's been plenty more with their whole kit, but if nothing else, I have been able to entirely rid my life of that. Oh God, moment
Ouchie, mama.
when you cause a little injury, in a delicate area, and it looks terrible. It's awkward. Your heart drops. Everything is bad.
You're bleeding out on the floor.
It's not. I mean, but
You're
it's
screaming for help.
It's not good. Okay, and being able to kiss that goodbye has been nice. I know it sounds stupid. I know it sounds silly. But it really is valuable to have an entire kit dedicated to making it a professional system. When you have to take care of your professional system.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that professional system one of them that you're referencing is the Performance Package 4.0. That comes with the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker ear, nose, and hair trimmer, which I use, so my nose gets less itchy during these videos.
100%.
Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, Crop Reviver Toner, Performance Boxer Briefs, and a travel bag to hold all of your goodies. The travel bag's phenomenal and fits everything, which is the most important part.
And their 4th generation trimmer actually has this cutting-edge ceramic blade that has specifically been designed to reduce trimming mishaps and accidents.
They also have their advanced skin-safe technology, and the Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and also has an LED spotlight that you need for a more precise shave. And a lot of those things, waterproof and getting a really nice shave and making sure you're not snagging anything, is also on their Weed Whacker.
The Crop Preserver is awesome, along with all the different goodies that they give you, the travel bag, the underwear, everything.
Yeah.
Again, we've been with them for over a year, and I really do love Manscaped. So that's it. Do we have an offer for our folks?
You know we do. You can get 20% off and free shipping with the code Theo and Harris at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use the code Theo and Harris.
Terrific.
Terrific.
Another one of my favorite watches was from a brand that I don't give a lot of praise to because I don't really care for.
Their modern brand version, right?
But Michael, to be honest, I'm not really a sports guy, so I don't really
even
get
old?
into it. It's not my thing. It's not my cup of tea. It's not my, it's not my thing. So it's Tag Heuer, and before Tag Heuer, it was Heuer, and they're great and they're interesting and they're historical and they're actually fairly well priced.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you look on the vintage
definitely.
market,
Yeah,
they're not unaffordable.
Not at all. Yeah.
And it's got some great history, but sports watches are just not so much my thing. I'm a dress watch guy.
Yes.
So there's that limit. There's that wall standing between me and admiration for Heuer. That being said, their new chronograph is phenomenal. Their new Carrera is phenomenal. Talk to me about your opinion as of now, before this, on the Carrera. Would you be likely to recommend a Tag Heuer Carrera to somebody?
That's the thing. One that's currently being out now? No. But go back to the 90s and definitely before? Yes. But now I'm like, look at it. Like, I don't know what it is because I can't put my finger on it. But I look at that and I'm like, yeah, it's cheap. You know?
What Heuer would you recommend to people?
The 1964 Carrera re-edition, of course.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's interesting because it's a phenomenal watch.
Yep.
But it's interesting because, it is a reissue.
Exactly.
So it didn't require any brilliance on the end of the modern, day company. They just reissued a watch. They did it really well. But Tag Heuer has not released a Carrera that has been praised by the watch community in a long time, meaning a new design.
Yeah, it's usually like, well, okay. Like I can't wait till they reissue this whenever they release a new Carrera.
Exactly. So now this is the new Carrera, and let's start off with initial impressions. I'll give you one thing to look at before anything, and it's the most interesting aspect.
Yeah, I know what it is.
The crystal.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was gonna say the internal bezel, but that is really because the crystal's going around.
Right. So what do you think about when you see this watch? I mean,
the internal bezel is definitely interesting, but it doesn't look like it's turned down so the crystal can be over it. It looks like the crystal surfs over it.
Exactly.
Which is sick.
Does that remind you of any other watch? If it doesn't die, I'll just.
Well, I'm
this
going to
is a
say
quiz.
Seiko Alpinist, but that's not the right answer.
That's not what I'm thinking of.
You're like, a what?
It is. It is 1159.
Because they have the internal
Think
bezel?
about not the internal bezel, but that domed crystal. That crystal that almost overcomes the watch. I mean, it's this beautiful effect. It's not the same thing, but it's a similar effect. And I think that was a total left field, pull for Tag Heuer, and it just gives such dimension to the watch, right?
Yeah.
Really stunning. So look at all the levels here, right?
Yep.
We've got the tachometer,
Yep.
right? It drops down, and then it comes back up for the hour markers. And then it goes back down for the dial. Then it comes up for the sub
that's
dial.
interesting.
Then the sub dial goes back in. I mean, this watch has so many levels. It is absolutely. Brilliant's a strong word, but this is very impressive design from Tag Heuer.
You've seen this watch, held this watch?
Yes, I have.
Do the seconds hands or the running hands, whatever the hands are on the sub dials, do those actually pop up as dramatic as it looks?
No, this looks a little odd almost.
It looks like they have a solid distance.
Yeah, you can't tell that so much. I guess that there's just, because even though you don't see that maybe, I think from the front, it's that much more legible. And it's maybe a nuanced little detail.
Okay.
But I also think it was a function to clear the out, because the sub dial drops.
Right.
So it had to be high enough to be level with the top of it, not the bottom.
Interesting.
So they had to level it up.
Interesting.
They did a really cool job here.
That crystal on the outside looks great.
Yes.
Because they could have done a ceramic or sapphire bezel, and that would have also looked great, but it wouldn't have looked like... that looks like a modern iPhone interpretation of it. It's just it's one continuous curved screen.
Yes. Yeah. It's a great watch. At $6,450, I think that they will be really popular.
For sure.
I think that people will buy this watch.
For sure.
And I'll go into that in a second. And B, I think that they're going to be able to keep up with demand well enough. They indicated that they are prepared to keep up with demand.
It seems like that's an LVMH move.
Yeah.
LVMH being the conglomerate that owns Tag.
They've got tremendous capabilities, right?
Yeah.
Like if they've got all the money they need.
It also just seems like their business. Well, is it easy to get a LV bag?
It's very easy to get an LV bag.
Hermes is not an LVMH.
I believe he's a minority investor, but it's not an LVMH. It's not an LVMH company.
And it's very difficult to get Hermes.
It's very difficult to get Hermes.
It seems like an LVMH thing then, based off that one example, to be like, well, you can get it right now.
Well, that's again with LVMH as a general rule. It seems to me, and I'm not an expert in LVMH,
Neither am I,
but it seems to me that their formula is they're experts at creating luxury perception.
Yes.
And still making things very attainable. I believe the average Louis Vuitton customer, although we might think that they are wealthy, I believe that the average income is somewhere in the $60,000 range.
Right.
So they've created this perception of wealth, but in reality, it's actually a fairly common thing to own. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's also that perception. You could see it carry here, where you go to the mall and you go to LV, you get what you want. You swing by the watch store, you get what you want. It's there. I'm in. I'm out. I'm not going on any waiting list. I want it right now. Here it is. My entire shopping experience.
Exactly. And another variable here that I think is worthy of note is Ben Clymer is a big fan of Heuer and is also pretty close, to my understanding, with Frederic Arnault.
Okay.
And I think that Ben, and keep in mind, not that I'm not really implying anything, but it is of note that one of the LVMH venture funds is an investor in Hodinkee.
Right.
Again, I'm not trying to make conspiracy theory here. I'm just listing out a couple of facts and
doing
whatever.
Your DD.
But I think that Ben, for a couple of reasons, is going to get behind this watch and this model. And honestly, if there was no LVMH money at Hodinkee, I still believe that they would be behind this model because it's so Hodinkee.
You mean get behind as in what?
Promote, really give a lot of favorable press. And frankly, as I feel, I don't take LVMH money, right? And yet, deservedly so.
Yeah.
I think that they have every right or every justifiable reason to get behind this watch.
Did you see the, I forget what it was, the Zenith that just got released?
Wow, that's absolutely beautiful.
Zenith makes limited editions solely for Silicon Valley Collectors Club. That watch is crazy.
That's beautiful.
Everything is brushed.
Oh, it's stunning.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. It's stunning.
Yeah, I don't know why that. Well, clearly it reminds me of it because it's a chronograph.
And look at all the levels.
Yeah.
Look at all the levels. Yeah. I mean, LVMH is doing a good job. I mean, they really do very.
And there's their. I would never dream Tag Heuer is going to do a limited edition for XYZ, but
Right.
Zenith, still LVMH, will do that. And
Right.
this is hard to get.
Yeah, and it's fascinating too because obviously you've got Frédéric Arnault coming in at the helm. Obviously his father put him there.
Yep.
Obviously there's nepotism there, and clearly
I was to say why.
and he's got a lot to prove because I don't think that Tag Heuer is his end point. Tag Heuer is a place to be
Yep.
and to succeed at, and if he succeeds, he will be ready for the next large thing.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot riding on it. There's a
Yeah.
lot riding on it, and not that long ago, and two things can be true at once, but not that long ago, Frédéric was putting all of his effort behind the smartwatch, by Tag
Ooh,
Heuer.
yes.
And I'm not saying that is unsuccessful. I clearly I don't
have no
know,
idea.
but it's interesting that the conversation has shifted, and they are again creating mechanical wristwatches that are really worthy of buying. That are interesting. They're putting their back into the development here, and I don't think it will go unnoticed.
I agree. And you can pay in crypto.
And you can pay in crypto.
And guys, you can pay in crypto.
Thank God I didn't buy Bitcoin at 16,000, by the way, because now it's
did.
at 30. You bought it?
I bought it.
Whether you're a Submariner guy or a 50 Fathoms guy or a Day-Date guy or an FP Journe guy, you've got to just take a step back and appreciate this history here. This isn't stuff you're going to find in a showcase. This is not mass-produced stuff, which is beautiful in its own right. I mean, this is treasure hunting. The last watch that I really, really loved is the Big Daddy. It's the Mac Daddy. It's the Rolex GMT Master 2 in solid yellow gold with the Jubilee bracelet and this, black and gray bezel, Saracron bezel.
That bezel is crazy.
This watch is phenomenal. I think it is maybe the coolest precious metal GMT since the 6542 in red.
Oh yeah. There's your picture.
That's it. That's a gorgeous watch. And I really think that this is the best one since.
Wow.
Yeah, I really do. They released some cool root beers in yellow gold. Yes, those watches are cool.
Sure.
They released, obviously, the super case with the green dial and the black bezel, back in like 06, 08.
Yep.
Great watch. I think this is the coolest one. I love the Jubilee bracelet. I love the black and gray. This is not an exciting watch. There's nothing innovative going on here.
Yeah, right.
So far as a design thing, this is all plug and play. So does Rolex deserve to be the best release of the year? No, I don't.
Celebration dial though?
The celebration dial, and we'll talk more about that later.
The JLC's way better.
But this is a very cool Rolex.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, it's a very cool Rolex. I don't want to be in the Rolex fanboy club, nor do I want to be in the Rolex hater club. Call it what it is. It's not genius, but it's very good.
It's a watch, yeah. It's exactly what Rolex does. You're like, oh yeah, it's a cool watch. It's great.
Yeah.
Next.
I think you would love that watch as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. The Jubilee bracelet is just really special. In general, even in steel, it's really special.
Yeah.
And it's really special in solid gold.
I wanted a GMT on Jubilee for a while. I think that's great.
Yeah, they're great watches.
I think the gray bezel is very cool. It feels very... And the Rolex did just release a titanium watch this year, so I can't say it feels very modern for Rolex considering, but it does feel like a stealthy thing that Rolex wouldn't normally do.
Totally. And honestly, with this bezel combo or this casual sporty bezel combo, which is not generally what two-tone is. Two-tone's usually flashy. It really makes the two-tone model very, very approachable.
Well, you look at this and you're like, oh, it's like a shadow like on the bottom
exactly
or something
what it looks like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which is cool because it really does look like just a straight line shadow. It doesn't look like a huge pop.
Agreed. Yeah, phenomenal stuff. Again, not crazy, but very nice, and I think it was great. Okay, now moving on from some of my three favorite watches, we're going to do another episode as well on some of the other thoughts on some watches. Yeah. But moving on for a second here, I guess now we'll go in reverse order. We'll go from Rolex. Okay.
Yep.
I didn't know the celebration story from you. I actually knew it from John, which was hysterical.
Oh, my story.
Oh,
My
yeah,
story.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So you ultimately did not put your name on the celebration, or you did?
I'm on the list. I got the text.
Got it.
Selena texted me.
You are on the list for the
I'm
celebration.
on the list, baby.
Got it. So are you looking forward to that much? Because I was obviously reading all the comments, and there was some interesting stuff. You know, people were, encouraging you to buy something
yeah.
weird and different.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They, what were your thoughts?
About the comments or about the...
No, I mean just about how are you looking at a watch? Because it was, do I think about my kids or am I thinking about myself?
Yeah. So, well, what's interesting was like, the whole video was like, the story was the fun part. But I was like, it's even less about my future children and more about like, am I going to be like, well, why is that the watch that I got?
Right.
Like, do I want something that's subtle or do I want something that's crazy? And the answer is I don't know. Like, I see that JLC and I'm like, that's the watch. I'll dump my whole collection and get that watch because that's also 2 for 1. You have your dress, you have your sports.
You'd flip.
That's why I looked at that and I was like,
I know.
I'm gonna get the call and be like, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I would love it for fun. I would probably, if I wasn't in the watch world, that would be my only Rolex and it'd be fun.
Totally.
But since I'm in the watch world, I see so many watches that it's hard to stick with one.
Yes.
You know what I'm
I can
saying?
definitely see that.
Like the biggest lot, I say this all the time, the thing that we all look up to is the guy that gets one watch and then is like, cool, that's my Rolex.
That's it.
And I can't do that.
Yeah, it's very tough. Yeah, you do get rid of watches a lot. I end up assigning too much sentimentality, and then I end up having to keep them.
Yeah.
So it becomes problematic. But that's interesting. So the other thought that came out of I wasn't saying it, other people were saying it, Watches and Wonders, was this will be a 1-year release. The celebration. That's what the people are saying.
I also heard, I said it in the video too, that like it could just be that thing that got everybody talking and they just make so few of them that it's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, whatever. Because it did work very effectively in that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Now, what about the puzzle dial?
I love that one. Well,
I love that one.
Here's the thing. I have to see pictures that aren't Watches and Wonders like, oh my God, I can't believe I got this watch. I gotta put it out. Because the lighting looks terrible. The crown is popped out in some of like the press photos and stuff like that. But I think it's amazing. Enamel dial, emojis are crazy.
That's the big thing. The enamel dial is really special.
That's
the enamel
amazing,
dial is really special. Rolex should do more enamel dials in dated.
It got swept under the rug too because it's such a loud design that it's like, oh wait, no, that's an enameled puzzle? That's incredible.
Yes. I think that the emoji, I don't like the emoji of it.
I don't know. I'm just like, I like that it's weird. I'm like, that's so weird. Because it's not like they did something that was odd.
It also has no meaning, so far as we can tell. It means nothing.
Yeah.
It's just provocative.
They didn't come out with anything, right? They were just like, this is it.
This is it. Bizarre.
Yeah. Everybody's like interpreting like, well, the puzzle I think is for Autism Speaks.
Yeah.
And there's no confirmation. There's no denying.
What was it from Autism Speaks? Because that's what people were...
I haven't seen anything from Rolex officially being like, yes, this is that watch. I've only seen people be like, well, yeah, clearly, look at it.
Yeah. I doubt it's an Autism Speaks thing because that's a brand, right?
It's also
that would be a
something that
weird
you say.
collaboration. Yeah,
exactly.
I don't think that the puzzle piece is a symbol of autism solidarity. I think it is specifically Autism Speaks, I believe. So, you know what I mean? So
I see what
you know
you're
what I
saying.
mean? So to put a puzzle wouldn't be solidarity with autism. It would be with the company, and I don't know if that would happen. Okay, now on to JLC. I think we touched on Heuer enough. Another thing on JLC, the experience that they created in their boutique really was phenomenal. They had the folks from Casa Fagliano, which is the
strap makers,
the Cordovan strap makers.
Yep.
They're South American. They might be Argentinian. I don't hold me to that. And they make horse riding boots, and they were there making straps, and it was really special and educational. I also think it's really fascinating that JLC kept their name. Like the JLC promotes their brand.
Oh, yeah.
That is hysterical to me.
Yeah, what's the move?
Just earnest. They're just being nice. Like,
is it just, well, because it also adds, like, it's nice, but it's also like, oh, well, they get them from these people, and that's it. Like, only them. Because you can get a strap that looks like that, but it's not a JLC, like, signed-off strap. Right.
And the other part of it was the enamel side. They had an entire section dedicated to enameling and to engraving, and it was really, really cool. Like, there were I was speaking to many people that are looking, everyone went through the sports watch craze. So now people are looking toward other things.
Yeah,
They're
of
saying,
course,
what
right.
else is out there?
That would be
you know?
the biggest craze of ever if the actual watch world shifted away from sports watches.
Really fascinating.
That would be insane.
And everyone was looking at the JLC is the perfect the perfect dress watch because it's a sports watch.
Exactly.
And it has a little bit of bulk and it's not so decadent and dressy.
Sure.
Yeah. Like a Piaget Polo or something like that,
Yeah,
or like
right.
a Calatrava. It's a Reverso and it's a little bit chunkier.
Also
hunkier.
hunky.
I'm a hunk. A lot of people I heard were saying, I think a Reverso would be it, especially with an enamel back. Come on. Now, let's keep in mind, these people, they spend big money on watches,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They're not.
You don't go enamel back without big
They're going
money.
for big money.
Yeah.
Do you know how much an enamel back was? I think that you were more in tune than I was. Depending on
everything, I don't know, but it's a ton of money. It has to be a precious watch.
Yeah.
It has to go through a certain thing. Like even me trying to get the back of mine engraved was crazy money.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of money, but it makes sense for a lot of people
Oh yeah.
because it's that special,
Yeah.
and it truly is artwork. On another level, like putting yourself in the shoes of people that really are in this big time,
Sure.
like in big money, like spending, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000, $150,000, like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Getting a enamel dial from a lot of other brands like Patek,
Yeah.
it's not happening.
Right.
Those are allocation pieces. It's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Whereas getting it from JLC, so long as you want to pay for it, it's their pleasure to do it.
It's in
for
their
you,
DNA, yeah,
which is
right.
really nice.
Yeah.
So it's like this beautiful, like bespoke experience, even though it's a fortune, that it's their pleasure.
I've gone through the process too. It really is a very nice, like, here's what the artisans think your thing should look like. They would recommend this.
Very
and it's
nice.
all very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So like we said, a lot of the watch industry is turning 2 and 3. A lot of the people that have gotten into this hobby in the last couple of years, their tastes are evolving, and how familiar they are with brands is their level of familiarity is increasing, and
Yeah.
everything is getting interesting, and
It's
you're going to
moving.
see a lot of the brands that deserve attention get it.
Yeah.
So that's it. Those are my thoughts, big guy.
Dude, I think those are some amazing thoughts. I didn't see that watch. Or no, you know what? I did see that watch, and I saw JLC Chronograph, and in my head I was like, it's thick. So I moved on.
Nope.
Wow.
Wait till you see it.
Oh, I gotta have to get one.
You're going to be tickled.
Sell everything I have, say this is my watch for life, and then
Yeah.
a month later be like, well, it's fine.
It's fine. I actually don't even like it. Do you want it? I'm like, here we go again.
I guess so. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the store. I'm like, I need the money now, actually.
All right, that's it. Go ahead and take a look at the Theo and Harris Watch Shop and the Strap Shop to support our business, and I will see you guys soon.
Yes, sir.
All right.